Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. I wanted to go ahead and address one of these really good comments that I just received here on one of my past videos. Ahmed Algorithm, he comments and basically says he's been watching me for years, and he said that in one of my videos in the past, and I'm sure you guys remember me saying this, I said that there's going to come a point in time where AI is essentially going to take over everything, right? And there's going to be no reason, no purpose for us to do any kind of work, as opposed to AI doing it. So there's not going to be a point where, there is going to be a point where we're never going to really need, or nobody's ever going to have a need to go purchase, images off of a stock photography website. Print on demand is probably going to be dead. AI is going to literally take over anything and everything, and it's going to make everything pretty much pointless. And if you really think about it, that probably will be the case. And I've spoken about this before, but when you have technology that makes everything 1,000 times easier, there really is no gap in knowledge then. Everybody is really able to access the same thing. The reason why, there are customers who buy from your Etsy store, for example, or who download images from stock photography sites is because they can't create those things themselves. Or it's not that they can't, it's that they don't know, right? So really, you're making money off of their lack of knowledge. That's really what it all is. Imagine you create an Etsy store today, you post a certain design on that Etsy store that was an AI image. What have you really done there? You just capitalized on the knowledge that you have that other people don't know about. Now, to you, that knowledge might seem simple. It might not seem difficult to understand, but for other people, and there's many people in this world who don't have the knowledge that you have, right? Whether it be using AI to create different images, taking those images, uploading them to stock photography sites, etc. So he asks here, he says, if AI is eventually going to take over and put an end to pretty much everything, why would I build, these businesses? Why would I, go out there and do the work? And it's a good question. He was specifically referring to stock photography. He said he wanted to grab the Super Stock AI course, but he doesn't know if he should go through with it because if AI is going to take over, then what's the point? It's actually a really, really good question. It's a good ideology. Well, the first thing is that I truly do believe there will come a point in time where it becomes, ineffective to do anything yourself. At that point in time, AI will be in complete control. But that could take 10 years, that could take 20 years, that could take 5 years. Who only really knows? The first thing we have to achieve is called the singularity. And the singularity is when AI has been basically self-autonomous. It has the ability to make its own decisions just like a regular human being would. And its knowledge and its ability to reason is at the same level of a normal human being. That's the first stage. Then the takeover process starts to come, right, where AI as a general intelligence is equal to or that of a human being and beyond. Like I said, that could take 10 years, it could take 15 years, it could take 7 years. Who knows how long it could take? It could take 25 years. It could also happen in 2 weeks. Now, is it realistic that it's going to happen in 2 weeks from now? The answer is no, right? But if that's going to happen, and if I know it's coming, there's only two perspectives that you could have. Well, there's one perspective, which is the perspective that I have, is basically, okay, I know that this monster is going to come. I know it's going to put an end to a lot of people's jobs, a lot of ability to make money, right? And essentially, humans are kind of going to be ineffective in a way. So for me, I look at it like this. I say, okay, I want to be prepared before that time comes. That's my point of view, okay? And not even before that, not even that specific time, but before that. Like the 5 to 10 years before that, right, as things are being changed, it will be very easy to eliminate 50, 60, 70, 80% of the workforce before that instance where everything is fully taken care of with AI. Now, in that period of time, like I said, I want to be prepared. I don't want to have to struggle. Because if that's the case where 50% of the workforce is out and there is no universal basic income, right, for everybody to take advantage of, then you're still going to have to go out there and figure out what to do. So that's the first perspective, is that I don't know when it's going to come, but I want to be prepared before it does so I don't have a hard time in my life. That's perspective number one. Perspective number two is, well, it's going to come. I might as well just not do anything anyway. And you could look at your life this way too. You could look at the way that eventually you're going to die this way. You could say, well, eventually I'm going to die. What's the point of building anything or achieving anything? You could look at it that way. And then you could have another perspective where you say, eventually I'm going to die. I want to become the best and build myself up at the highest level before I die so I get everything from this life experience, that I could fully, tangibly touch. There's two perspectives, right? A is I want to take full advantage before I'm dead. And B is, what's the point of doing anything? I'm going to die anyway, right? It's the same concept. So for me, I have the perspective of I want to build as much as I can before this time comes. Some people might say, well, there's no point of doing anything before the time comes. But the elephant in the room is that the time is coming. Like I said, it could take 20 years. It could take 15 years. It could take 2 years. It could take 17 years. Who knows, right? For me, like I said, I'm focused. I'm working. And that's kind of my answer to Ahmed here. Is he's asking like what's the point? Why would I, invest in the course or work on something, or why would I continue, start this business? Why would I do it if it's going to come to an end anyway, since AI is going to take over? Well, it's up to you. It comes down to your decision making. You have the choice. And actually, my reply was this. I said, yes, it's almost a guarantee that AI eventually will take over or replace everything. Whether it takes 5 years or 10 years or 25 years or 2 weeks, we really don't know. It's just a matter of making a decision. You can choose to wait until that day and do nothing in the meantime, or you can build something up during that free time up until that moment. It's up to you. And of course, as I told him, the course is just all of my experiences and all the things that I've learned amalgamated into a membership online. Not a membership in terms you have to pay like a membership. No, it's a one-time price, of course, but you get access to everything that I learned, and it's continually being updated. And there's over 100 videos in the course. So it's not like I'm trying to push the course. This is just for people who want to kind of have like a shortcut and experience everything that I've already learned amalgamated into the course. So, the course is not necessary. You can go out there and figure everything out yourself. But, once again, it just depends on the person. Some people want to go figure, everything out. Some people just want the information so they don't need to figure it out. They can go straight to the answers. Regardless, it's good. But putting the course aside, for me personally, I'm not going to just sit and do, nothing. Not even nothing. I'm just not going to sit and wait for doomsday to come. For me, that's not the way. And that never was the way. For me, I might as well do something in the meantime. And the reality is I personally know, because of my experiences, the harder I work at something, the more successful I become. Even though some things in my life were extremely difficult to achieve, I made it happen most of the time. Not because I'm lucky or I've been given some sort of gift that other people don't have. It's just simply because I put an unfathomable amount of time into something, and really almost with a relentless kind of spirit. I never really give up until the job is done. So it comes down to you. It comes down to you and what you believe and what you want to do. Do you want to just sit and wait and do nothing until the day comes and really struggle through that period of time because there's going to be lack of opportunity? Or do you want to take advantage of something, even if it doesn't last too long? Take advantage of something so that you might have it until that time ends. I remember back in the day, a long time ago, the internet, people looked at the internet at first. There was this hype, right? And then it kind of died off. There was a bubble burst, right? People started to pay attention to it less. They thought it was some sort of fad that was going to trend upwards and then die off. But look at us here today, 20 years later, we still have the internet. People are using it now more than ever, okay? So the reality is I'm not much of a waiter, and I'm not much of a complainer either. I just go out there, I figure out something, I work on it, I do it, and I build on it. And I'll give you a huge example. Let's talk about Redbubble, TeePublic, Society 6. Back when Society 6 had their purge, I knew that this was it. This was my moment to go all out on Society 6. Now, mind you, I already had 2 virtual assistants working on Society 6 part-time. I was uploading to Society 6 prior to the purge. Then when I heard about the purge, this was the best news for me. I went all out. I went madman on Society 6. I make about $3,600 to $4,200 a month on Society 6 now. And I actually haven't uploaded a Society 6 design since August 1st. So I'm chilling. I'm making money on a daily basis. I'm generating commissions, royalties, whatever you want to call it, on a daily basis on Society 6. I worked on Redbubble for years, and there was a point in time where I was uploading 60 designs a day, every day. And there was actually a point in time where I committed here on YouTube that I would start a new store every single month. And I did that every single month, 60 designs a day, every day. And I would start a new store every month, ending that store with about 1,800 designs for that month, and then onto the new store and onto the new store. And I'd create a social media page with it. And it was a lot of work. And I worked very, 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 very hard. I remember there would be times where I would be finished, doing my main work online, which was blogs and websites. And then it would be like 11:20 at night. Like we're talking about 40 minutes away from hitting midnight. And I still hadn't done my 60 designs for the day. So I did it anyway. I remember documenting this through YouTube and talking about how, like, maybe a night before or the day before, I was super, super tired. I was drained, but I had to do it anyway. I didn't have, much of an option because I made that commitment. And today, on each of my Redbubble stores, which, by the way, I sold 9 of them for a large I wouldn't say large, medium, $179,000, which is a pretty decent six-figure size. Of course, I had to pay tax on it and things like that. There were some fees, but, I remember, had I not done all that work, I wouldn't have the sales I had today. I wouldn't have sold those 9 stores. I wouldn't have the stores that I have left that are generating me income literally every day without exaggeration. If you talk to a lot of, Redbubble, not Redbubble, but print-on-demand people, they'll sit here and say, I hate Redbubble. Redbubble's terrible, this and that and that. But they didn't do as much work as I did most of the time. They didn't stay committed the way I did. And I worked my heart out on that business. And now I'm reaping the results of it. Now we're talking about literally almost 6 years of work on Redbubble. Every single day, every single day, every single day. Building and learning, reverse engineering the algorithm. Prior to my Redbubble course, there was no real information on Redbubble on the internet. People had their thoughts, they had their ideas. Some people had different ideas, but like I said, I studied every little inch of Redbubble. I studied like a madman. And I became great at it over the years, fine-tuning my skill and becoming better and better and better. Now I get to the point where I create Redbubble designs. And every single design I create, pretty much every single one, and I'm not bragging here, but most of them, we're talking about 90+%, eventually make a sale. There's really rarely any designs now that I'll ever make that won't sell. It will eventually sell. Now, it wasn't that way for me in the beginning. Maybe in the beginning, 20% of my designs sold. Then it got to 40, 50%, 60%. I got to the point where a few years in, we're talking 4 years in, when I would create a design, I would know if it was going to sell or not. I would know before it was created. And I got into the point where I started creating designs that only sold. I focused on hitting the mark every time. I got so good that it became stupid for me not to work on the business. So many people would tell me, why do you still make videos on Redbubble? What's the point? Why are you even talking about them? They're a terrible company. And I said it so many times over and over and over. I said, how can I not? I make so much money from the platform. It generates income for me every day. But remember, I had to walk through the fire to get there. It's not like somebody handed me this information. It's not even like I read it in a book or a magazine. I figured it out with years of work. And just because someone else doesn't like it, or people might say the opportunity is decreasing, I'm not going to just walk away from it. I have to experience it myself. So once again, to answer the question is like, when is this business going to come to an end? The answer is, that's up to you to decide. It could come to an end for you tomorrow. If you feel like you don't want to do it, you're going to put an end to it. There's really nothing I could say to convince you to go one way or the other. But I know for me, when I see a business opportunity or an opportunity to give myself more financial freedom or my family financial freedom, or put my dad in a good place comfortably financially, or people in my family or somebody who needs money, etc., I'm going to do it. It's not so much because of the love for money, but it's more for the freedom aspect. And the reality is if you have this mentality with one thing, you're probably going to have that mentality with everything. You're going to have this mentality of like, well, why would I go out there and even work? My dad actually told me about this. My dad lived in Egypt for a period of time when he was younger, and he would talk about where he would go out every day trying to find work. From the age of 20 to 26, he would go out every day trying to find some work. And he said all the other people his age, they would go down the apartment building, sit in the streets where people would serve tea and coffee, and they would watch soccer games all day. And they would sit there watching these soccer games and drinking tea and hanging around. And if you interviewed them, if you asked them, hey, why aren't you out there working? Because these people will complain to you about lack of money. When you ask them, why aren't you out there trying to find a job, working something? They'll sit there and they'll complain, and they'll say, hey, there's not that much opportunity out there. But those are the same people that don't go out there and actually look for something. And they might be right. There might be lack of opportunity, but that doesn't mean that opportunity doesn't exist. It might be slim, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Those are the same people today who are still looking for jobs. They're not in retirement at their old age. They're in pain. They're still complaining about money. They're still complaining about the boss. They're still complaining about the man. They find ways to complain about everything. So there's only two groups of people in the world. There's people who, once again, hop on opportunities when they find them. And then there's other people who say, you know what? Why would I even work hard on this? Why would I bust my butt for something that's going to come to an end anyway? What's the point? I'm not going to do anything. Let me just sit back and relax. And you got to realize the world was built on the primary thought, right? People could say, why would I build this house if eventually it's going to break down? We might as well just sleep in the streets. Who cares? And like I said, there's nothing I could really say to convince you otherwise. It's just a matter of choice. It's either do you want or do you not want? There's really nothing I could say. So I think maybe bringing it to light, it will hopefully help you make a decision. But my point for this video is not to help you make the certain decision. It's up to you. I can't convince anybody to take up opportunity and make a decision on a business. Like I said, I used that example before about that kid, Kyle. I told you guys the story about him. He was somebody who's real close to me. We had reconnected at a wedding. We were talking about business. He was kind of enamored about my lifestyle, where I didn't have to go to work. I didn't have any responsibilities whatsoever because I had sold my business. And he wanted to get in the world and in the life, and I offered him countless opportunities for him to do something, and he always found a way to complain, to sit back and not take an opportunity and not really go to it. And here he is in his life, honestly, and I hate to say this, but a failure in every regard. His parents paid for his pharmacy school. He dropped out. He had debt from other things that he never paid off, and he just committed to paying the interest for the rest of his life. He doesn't want to pay it off completely. He just wants to keep paying the interest and not have to pay it off. He every single hard task, if you tell him, hey, let's go to the gym, let's go for a workout, he complains. It's too much for him. If you tell him, hey, start this business or get this extra job or do this or do that, he finds a way to complain and say, oh, I can't do it, and he comes up with any kind of excuse. I mean, like I said, guys, there's nothing I could say to convince someone to want to become successful or to want to do something. It's just up to you, So I wish you guys the best. I think just bringing this to light and talking about it can help you either see the path that you want to go down. And that's all I got to say. So thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace out. Bye.